Okay, I want you to think back to when you were 13 years old. What comes to mind? Oh, I know, right? I mean, for me, it's a flood of awkward memories. Everything from braces to voice cracks, parachute pants. I mean, come on. I wasn't alone in this. Did anyone else have the parachute pants with the zippers on them? Yes, they were cool at the time. And oh my gosh, glasses so thick that you could start a fire with just the right amount of sunlight. Oh my goodness. I remember feeling like I was caught between those two worlds when you're no longer a kid, but definitely not an adult quite yet. It was like being stuck in the middle of a bridge and unsure which side to run towards. A few years ago, I did an episode titled What to Say to a 10-Year-Old, and I still hear from you about it. So I thought, it's time to do another one, and this time for 13-year-olds. My oldest son just turned 14, and so I wanted to wait and experience 13 all over again with him, and then that would allow me some insight in this episode. Years ago, we lived at a house with a tree in the backyard that always reminds me of those middle school years. It was a Japanese maple tree, and honestly, I loved it so much. And Japanese maples, they're probably my favorite trees to begin with. But when we first moved into the house, it was this scrawny little sapling, just gangly branches with not much to it, to be honest. It seemed very young. And for years, it just kind of existed, right? It wasn't really impressive. It was just hanging on, it looked like. And it was right in the middle of the yard, of the backyard particularly, almost as if it was interrupting whatever game you wanted to play. That tree was right in the middle of everything. And then one spring, almost like it was overnight, I noticed that it began to wake up, if you will. Almost like a growth spurt, right? This awkward sapling had transformed into a most stunning focal point of the yard. I think about that tree a lot when I talk to teenagers, especially new teenagers such as 13-year-olds, how they're just navigating their early adolescence. Because here's the thing, like that sapling, like that Japanese maple, you might feel awkward or even unremarkable right now, especially open in the middle of everything where you're interrupting all the fun, right? But you're in a season of growth and change, and it's confusing and it feels just awkward. And while you can't see the final picture yet, you are developing roots and strength that will serve you for years to come. So, what do you say to a 13-year-old without being awkward or preachy or just sounding like a parent, right? It's tough. Well, let's find out. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. So what I would say to a 13-year-old who's feeling lost and insecure and overwhelmed, well, first and foremost, you are so much more than you realize. I know it might not feel like it most days. The middle school hallways, they can feel like this maze of comparison and self-doubt. But I promise you, the things that make you feel different or weird right now, those are often the very things that will make you extraordinary later in life. I'm going to say that again. The things that make you feel different or weird right now, those are the very things that will make you extraordinary later in life. Think about it this way. Imagine you're looking at a half-finished painting. Right now at 13, you're seeing some smudges of color and some rough outlines. It might not make sense. You might even think it looks bad. But the artist, which is you, You're still mixing colors. You're still adding layers. You're figuring out the composition of this painting. Well, your life is that painting. And right now you're stuck in the middle of the creative process, and it takes time for this full picture to emerge. Now, I know this doesn't magically make the struggles of being 13 just poof, disappear. So I want to talk about some practical ways to navigate this chapter of being 13. So first, are you listening? Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle. Your body and brain, they are going through massive changes right now, right? Mood swings and insecurities and feeling like you don't fit in your own skin. This is all normal. So be gentle with yourself. Instead of being hard on yourself, try to approach things with some kindness, even some curiosity, right? Say, I'm feeling really irritable today. I wonder if that's because all of the changes that I'm going through. Be gentle. You are going through such a massive change right now. And then the second thing that I would say is find your people. And by that, I don't mean like the popular crowd or whoever you think that you're supposed to hang out with. Let me say that one again. I don't mean the popular crowd. I mean the people who really get you, the ones who make you feel seen and appreciated for who you truly are. It's like finding that right puzzle piece, right? It just fits. And maybe that's one close friend, or maybe it's a group from an after-school club. But these connections, they are like lifelines. So cherish them. Find your people, not the popular ones, but the ones that fit you. Number 3, explore and experiment. This is such a great time to try new things, right? Join the clubs that sound interesting. Join the clubs that you know nothing about, right? If you have never played chess, why not? If you've never done drama, if you've never done football, if you've never fill in the blank, right? Pick up that instrument that you've wanted to learn, or maybe just didn't even want to learn. You just want to try it, right? Write terrible poetry. And trust me, we all did at 13, myself included. But the more you explore, the more you will discover about yourself and what interest you find. So explore, experiment, be open-minded with the things that you are willing to put out there and try. And then 4th, this is probably the most important one. So if I've lost you, come back. I want you to remember that everyone is figuring this out. I know it can feel like everyone else has it all together and you are the only one that is struggling. But I promise, even the kids who seem like they've got it all figured out are dealing with their own insecurities, their own challenges. We are all in the same classroom, trying to learn as we go. So just remember, everyone is figuring it out just like you are. And then finally, and now that I think about it, this actually is in my opinion, maybe the one of the most important parts, is for you to, are you ready? I want you to hear this. Your worth is not determined by your grades. Your worth is not determined by your popularity, your appearance, or any other external measure. You have value simply because you exist. You have beautiful value simply because you exist. You are worthy of love and belonging, period. Period. No conditions, no exceptions, no, well, I don't know. No. You are worthy just because you exist. Your worth is not determined by your grades, your popularity, your appearance, or any external measure. No conditions, no exceptions. So I want you to try this with me. If you would, and if you are in a safe space, close your eyes. Now, for those of us that aren't 13, I want you to imagine your 13-year-old self standing in front of you. What does that version of you need to hear the most? What words of comfort or encouragement would soothe those adolescent worries? Take a deep breath and really see that younger you. Now, in your mind, give that 13-year-old version of yourself a hug, a big hug. Hold yourself tight. And I want you to say, you are enough. You are lovable. And you are going to be okay. Giving yourself a big, beautiful hug. Tell yourself, you are enough. You are lovable. And you're going to be okay. I want you to feel the weight of those words. Let them sink in. Because they're true. Both for your 13-year-old self and for you right now, wherever you are in life. I know some days feel impossibly hard when you're 13. The emotions are big, the challenges are real, but I want you to know that you are not alone in this. Every adult you see was once a confused, insecure 13-year-old as well, myself included. But guess what? We made it through. We did. And some days are harder than the others. But we made it through. And you are going to as well. In fact, you'll do more than just survive these years. You'll gather experiences. You'll gain insight that will shape you into the amazing person that you're meant to become. So this week, I have a challenge for you. No, this is not homework. Just something to think about, right? So whether you are 13 or 113, I want to invite you to write a letter to your teenage self. What do they need to hear most? What wisdom would you share? What reassurance would you offer to your 13-year-old self? Pour all of your compassion and understanding into this letter. And then, here's the most important part. Read it back to yourself, your current self. Because chances are the words that your teenage self needs to hear are words that your present day self could use too. And all of this, I want you to know. I'm cheering for you. I am rooting for you. Seriously. These years are not easy. They're not. I'm not going to pretend they are. But they're shaping you in ways that you are meant to be shaped into. You are stronger than you know. You are more resilient than you can imagine. And you have so much potential waiting to come to light. Because that's what you are. You are a radiant light. Just like that sapling in my backyard. Your time to bloom is coming. And when it does, It's going to be breathtaking. Speaking of that tree, as we wrap, I want to circle back to that tree in my yard. Yeah, the funny thing is, even now, when I go by that house and I see the tree in the backyard, and now that it's gorgeous, it's thriving, I'm sure it still has these awkward days, right? Sometimes a storm will come through and tangle its branches and the leaves will fall. And sometimes the blooms, maybe they don't quite open evenly. But this does not diminish its beauty or its strength, to be honest. I mean, if anything, those imperfections make it more interesting, more unique. And the same is true for you. Your awkward moments, your struggles, your doubts, your storms, they are all a part of what makes you beautifully, uniquely you. So embrace them. I know it sounds absurd, but sit through them, learn from them, and know that just like that tree in the backyard, you are growing stronger every single day, even when you can't see it. So to all of the 13-year-olds out there, and to everyone who's ever felt like a tree in a forest of towering trees around them, your time is coming. Your roots are growing deeper. Your branches are reaching higher. And one day, maybe when you least expect it, you are going to burst into bloom. And the world, the world will be so much better for it. It will. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And thank you for growing. And until next time, be kind to your mind. And join me again as we calm it down. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, see where I may be appearing in your area, or just simply want to know where to send me some chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized sweet tooth. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and not intended, nor should they, serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you, and you should only act upon the advice of this physician. Now, I'm an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this in future podcast episodes to aid those needs. So to find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review, or better yet, share it with a friend. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of mental and emotional health. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And until next time, be kind to your mind and join me again as we calm it down.